It's all God's will. You can die in your sleep, and God can spare you in battle. A man on a 1,000-mile walk has to forget his goal and say to himself every morning, "Today I'm going to cover 25 miles and then rest up and sleep." Can it be that I have not lived as one ought? Suddenly came into his head. But how not so, when I've done everything as it should be done? She had no need to ask why he had come. She knew as certainly as if he had told her that he was here to be where she was. Human science fragments everything in order to understand it, kills everything in order to examine it. I'm like a starving man who has been given food. Maybe he's cold, and his clothes are torn, and he's ashamed, but he's not unhappy. Every lie is a poison. There are no harmless lies. Only the truth is safe. Only the truth gives me consolation. It is the one unbreakable diamond. Because of the self-confidence with which he had spoken, no one could tell whether what he said was very clever or very stupid. I wanted movement and not a calm course of existence. I wanted excitement and danger and the chance to sacrifice myself for my love. Not one word, not one gesture of yours could I ever forget. I simply want to live, to cause no evil to anyone but myself. I often think that men don't understand what is noble and what is ignorant, though they always talk about it. He felt now that he was not simply close to her, but that he did not know where he ended and she began. Seize the moments of happiness, love and be loved. That is the only reality in the world. All else is folly. It is the one thing we are interested in here. What counts in making a happy marriage is not so much how compatible you are, but how you deal with incompatibility. If we admit that human life can be ruled by reason, then all possibility of life is destroyed. But the law of loving others could not be discovered by reason, because it is unreasonable. You can love a person dear to you with a human love, but an enemy can only be loved with divine love. It's not given to people to judge what's right or wrong. People have eternally been mistaken and will be mistaken, and in nothing more than in what they consider right and wrong. They've got no idea what happiness is. They don't know that without this love there is no happiness, or unhappiness. For us there is no life. Happiness does not depend on outward things, but on the way we see them. The whole world is divided for me into two parts. One is she, and there is all happiness, hope, light. The other is where she is not, and there is dejection and darkness. It's much better to do good in a way that no one knows anything about it. Sometimes she did not know what she feared, what she desired, whether she feared or desired what had been or what would be, and precisely what she desired, she did not know. All great literature is one of two stories. A man goes on a journey or a stranger comes to town. There is no greatness where there is not simplicity, goodness, and truth. A man can live and be healthy without killing animals for food. Therefore, if he eats meat, he participates in taking animal life merely for the sake of his appetite. And to act so is immoral. If everyone fought for their own convictions, there would be no war. All the variety, all the charm, all the beauty of life is made up of light and shadow. I've always loved you, and when you love someone, you love the whole person, just as he or she is, and not as you would like them to be. Wrong does not cease to be wrong because the majority share in it. In the name of God, stop a moment, cease your work, look around you. Rummaging in our souls, we often dig up something that ought to have lain there unnoticed. Nothing is so necessary for a young man as the company of intelligent women. Is it really possible to tell someone else what one feels? Spring is the time of plans and projects. Only people who are capable of loving strongly can also suffer great sorrow, but this same necessity of loving serves to counteract their grief and heals them. We can know only that we know nothing, and that is the highest degree of human wisdom. Respect was invented to cover the empty place where love should be. He stepped down, trying not to look long at her, as if she were the sun, yet he saw her, like the sun, even without looking. It is amazing how complete is the delusion that beauty is goodness. If you look for perfection, you'll never be content. All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. We love people not so much for the good they've done us, as for the good we've done them. Friends we shall never be, you know that yourself. Whether we shall be the happiest or the wretchedest of people, that's in your hands. And those who only know the non-platonic love have no need to talk of tragedy. In such love there can be no sort of tragedy. What am I coming for? He repeated, looking straight into her eyes. You know that I have come to be where you are, he said. I can't help it. Everything comes in time to him who knows how to wait. There is nothing stronger than these two, patience and time. They will do it all. There will be today, there will be tomorrow, there will be always, and there was yesterday, and there was the day before. All that day she had had the feeling that she was playing in the theater with actors better than herself, and that her poor playing spoiled the whole thing. You say, I am not free, but I have raised and lowered my arm. Everyone understands that this illogical answer is an irrefutable proof of freedom. And not only the pride of intellect, but the stupidity of intellect. And, above all, the dishonesty, yes, the dishonesty of intellect. Yes, indeed, the dishonesty and trickery of intellect. In the best, the friendliest and simplest relations, flattery or praise is necessary, just as grease is necessary to keep wheels turning. Historians are like deaf people who go on answering questions that no one has asked them. As long as there are slaughterhouses, there will always be battlefields. My principal scene is doubt. I doubt everything, and am in doubt most of the time. He could not be mistaken. There were no other eyes like those in the world. There was only one creature in the world who could concentrate for him all the brightness and meaning of life. It was she. It was Kitty. Here I am alive, and it's not my fault, so I have to try and get by as best I can without hurting anybody until death takes over. And you know, there's less charm in life when you think about death, but it's more peaceful. To tell the truth is very difficult, and young people are rarely capable of it. We walk to meet each other up at the time of our love, and then we have been irresistibly drifting in different directions, and there's no altering that. Pure and complete sorrow is as impossible as pure and complete joy. The only absolute knowledge attainable by man is that life is meaningless. Instead of going to Paris to attend lectures, go to the public library, and you won't come out for 20 years if you really wish to learn. Which is worse, the wolf who cries before eating the lamb or the wolf who does not? Happiness is an allegory, unhappiness a story. There are no conditions to which a person cannot grow accustomed, especially if he sees that everyone around him lives in the same way. There was no answer, except the general answer life gives to all the most complex and insoluble questions. That answer is, one must live for the needs of the day. In other words, become oblivious.